Season 1 Reloaded of Warzone 2 has just gone live, and I'm here to run you through all the patch notes to give you all the information you need. So starting things off, we've got a limited time event called the Warzone Cup. This is basically Rocket League meets Warzone, so expect to have this quite as a goofy, interesting game mode where basically you're running around on a quad bike trying to knock the ball into the opposition goal. In general, they've made a lot of changes, including now actually giving you an XP token timer, which is great. It's something we really needed to know how much we're using. They've also fixed some of the social issues, including merged the hub and the friends tabs together just to make things a little bit more succinct, and a few various changes there as well. They've sorted out some of the showcases as well and some of the channels. Now moving on to the weapons, we've got a brand new weapon called the Chimera in Warzone 2. It has an integrated suppressor and is really adapt for those close range combat. I am going to be making a full guide for that gun on my channel, so make sure you click that subscribe button for future reference. So taking a look at some of the weapon adjustments, they have nerfed the akimbo pistols. I figured that was about time as they were actually better than the SMGs, so they are nerfed now. There's a damage reduction there against armored opponents. And then looking at the assault rifles, they have nerfed the Cast-Off 74U by giving it a slight reduction to close range damage. The M13B, they have kind of fixed a bug on that one. And then the Cast-Off 545, they have actually given a pretty decent buff to, but I still don't see this gun being meta. And now moving over to the SMGs, they have buffed the MX9, giving it increased movement speed, ADS speed, sprint to fire speed on the 32 round mags. And then for the Vel 46, they've buffed the hip fire spread and increased the movement speed and increased the fire damage range. So overall, the Vel 46 might be starting to look like a bit more of a viable option as a secondary to a sniper, or maybe just overall a bit of better SMG. And then taking a look at the pistols, they're kind of fixed a little bit on the Basilisk and added a couple of attachments to it, but it's really not going to be a relevant weapon going forwards since the Akimbos have been nerfed. And then the .5 GS, so the Desert Eagle, they have buffed this slightly, but again, it's really not going to be that relevant. And yes, shotguns have been nerfed as well. They can no longer one-shot fully armored players. They have kind of buffed and nerfed the Riot Shield, but I hope none of you are running around Al Mazrah with that. And then the launchers, the Joker, they've kind of just fixed a couple of things on that. And now taking a look at the vehicles, they have kind of buffed a lot of them and nerfed sort of the full damage to make them take a little bit more here and there. But ultimately, most of them have got more health and reduced collision damage with the heavy chopper and a few other things as well, but nothing overly notable. They have also fixed the player visibility, just making friendly player nameplates disappear when an enemy is in the direct path of an ally to prevent making mistakes for an ally. Now moving over to the field upgrades, the portable radar can actually be stuck to vehicles. That's actually really useful, so you could chuck it on there and go for a quick drive around, just giving you some really good information of what's around you. And they've fixed a slight bug with a thermite grenade as well. And now over to the attachments, they have actually buffed the tuning. Basically, they have made the more beneficial things more increased the further up the side you go, and the harmful tunings have been sort of decreased in how much they negatively affect that attachment going forward. So overall, you're going to see more of an improvement and less harm to your gun. So it's definitely worth taking a look at your tunings and sort of readapting those going forwards now. They've also fixed various bug fixes. And just to give you a quick playlist update, we've got solos, duos, quads, mini royale trios, and Warzone Cup trios. And then taking a look at DMZ, we've also got trios, and you can actually invite people into your squads in DMZ as well. And now taking a look at Al Mazrah, they have actually improved the lighting and shadows across several major points of interest in Al Mazrah. And then in DMZ as well, they've added Building 21, which is a new area, which isn't actually in Al Mazrah. And by the sounds of it, you have to travel outside of Al Mazrah to get to this point. So it could be a really interesting place to explore. You're going to need some keys though to get there. And now taking a look at the gameplay adjustments, they've done some really good stuff for the Battle Royale. They've actually increased the amount of active strongholds from 3 up to 5, which is really useful. They have nerfed the bots as well, so all the AIs running around them. They've reduced the damage per bullet by 26%. Also, the number of units per black site is reduced by half, so there's going to be half as many enemies there. And then further reductions based on squad sizes. So, if you're in solos, you're going to see far less AI, and then if you're in quads, you're going to see more. So it's all about that scaling now going forwards. And then the AI combat reinforcements as well. So when they jump back into a stronghold site or a black site, there's actually going to be 30% less of those that come back in. And they're also going to be extending the time out between those waves coming in by double. So you're just going to overall see far less enemies there, which is actually going to be really useful as there's just too many AIs in Warzone 2. And then looking at the black sites, they have actually made the AI combatants have additional armor, so they're going to be a little bit harder to kill, therefore making the black site just that little bit more difficult. But they have actually rewarded an upgraded version of the Stronghold UAV, which will sweep twice as far and about 30% faster than the Stronghold UAV, just making it really useful going forwards, as it's just going to give you so much more map information. So it could actually be really essential to do the black site going forwards. And then taking a look at DMZ, they have changed the cash values for a lot of items and the contracts. And then the container spawn rate rates as well has been increased and decreased in certain objects. You can now also ask to join enemy squads as well. XP tokens can now be activated in the main lobby menu, and now successfully extracting multiple times in a row will provide players with random perks for the next infill, and medium and large backpacks now allow for that third weapon slot like they do in Warzone. Faction missions now have improvement to their descriptions, so they actually make more sense going forwards, which is definitely useful. And bomb drones, they have nerfed them, though not as much as I'd like to see. Players with 3 armor plates on the outer radius of the explosion will survive but receive critical damage, which is a massive pain in the backside still. And then with the radiation blocker and DMZ, they have actually fixed some bugs there. And taking a look at perks, they have updated the default loadouts. And just over to some quality of life updates, out of bound time has been up to 10 seconds. They've added a player revive alert as well, so when an enemy is revived nearby, you're just going to get that audio cue so you know it's happened. And then ground loot, they have made improvements to ground loot priority so that interacting with desired items is easier. And also ammunition, basically when you run over ammo on the ground now and you've already got some in your inventory, it's going to automatically pick that up instead of you having to fidget around trying to pick it up. So it's going to make life a lot easier. And note, they haven't added the combat record for Warzone 2 like they said they were going to. They said this has been delayed as there are some concerns around the accuracy of the data population, and they've not really given a time frame for that as well. And then we've got a huge list of bug fixes. I'm just going to slowly scroll through that now, but there's a lot there, as you know, the game was quite buggy, so I'm not going to read it all out, as you really don't need to hear all of that because that's a lot of things. So that's it for Season 1 Reloaded patch notes. If you are looking for the best gun to use in Season 1 Reloaded, click on the video on screen now, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.